just clear your mind. Give yourself some time before you give everybody else time and attention. So what we do here is practice connecting breath and body with through the techniques of yoga and meditation. So everything that I lead you through is an invitation. Don't get hung up on how it looks. I'm more interested in your commitment to how it feels. So don't push yourself further than what's going to be good for you in your body. We'll start off with a seated grounding meditation. Move on to some yoga movement, lymphatic shaking, and end with a nice long shavasana, final relaxation pose. So, let's see here, Taylor, do you want to come say hi to chat? Oh, what we'll need, let's roll out a yoga mat. You can also grab a blanket or a towel just for below the knees to practice on. Say hi to chat. Yes, stand ready. So we'll get started seated. Finding a comfortable sitting position. You might start seated on the floor, cross-legged. And you might elevate your hips with a pillow or a folded blanket. Just get your hips higher than your knees. Or if you're in a chair, that's also completely appropriate and welcome. If you want to silence your devices, just give yourself the next few minutes to be without any external notifications and check in with our internal world. We're seated up nice and tall with chest over hips and head over heart. Hands come to rest on the lap, either palms down to ground down or palms up to give and receive energy if you feel you've got a little extra to give today. Eyes can close or lower to a soft gaze just beyond the legs, not looking at anything in particular. And we'll start with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, shoulders rise up towards the ears, and an audible sigh out through the mouth, shoulders drop away. Allow the breath to continue in and out through the nose, returning to a natural pace. We'll take a moment here just to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. Become present to yourself here in this moment, here in this space. Begin to allow sounds into your awareness. allowing all sounds in all part of this moment, this experience. Feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. The weight of your hands on your knees. Begin to scan your body from head down towards toes. First, getting a general sense as to how the body feels. And then scanning part by part, like passing through an X-ray machine. Checking in for any places of tightness or sensitivity, any restlessness or fidgeting. And taking note to work into any places that call out for your attention throughout your movement practice here today. We'll shift that awareness from the body, Anamaya Kosha, to the energetic level, Pranamaya Kosha. Noticing where you're at energetically on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl into bed. 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. And notice the breath, observing the breath without changing it. Just follow inhales, exhales, whatever space in between. And shifting the awareness up to Manamaya Kosha, the mind. Allow thoughts and feelings to arise freely. Observe them from a distance. No need to engage, like a film being projected onto a screen. The story will go on without your direct input. Notice what are the quality of the thoughts today. Do they have a positive or a negative tilt to them? Are they ruminating on the past or attempting to predict the future? Not right or wrong, not good or bad, just something to notice. And bring the attention back down to the breath. And this time actively expanding the breath. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Belly expands on the inhale, inflating like a balloon. And exhale, retracts, pulling belly button in towards spine. Complete exhalation. Full belly breathing here. Breathing into the belly and out. So April brings us a new month, and with a new month, a new pranayama, a new breathing technique. So as it's the 4th month of the year, I thought it would be appropriate to practice our box breath. So this is a 4-part breathing technique. It's still in and out through the nose, and so we're working on expanding the belly and contracting the belly on the exhale. So it looks like inhaling through the nose to the count of 4, holding the breath at the top for the count of 4, exhaling for the count of 4, and holding the breath at the bottom for the count of 4. That's one cycle. So we'll practice together. Inhaling for 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Follow your own internal counting like that for a couple rounds. Make sure you're taking full deep breaths in and full exhales out to avoid getting lightheaded. And the next time you exhale and hold it for the count of 4, release to a natural breath's pace. Perhaps affected by that pranayama. Don't get too hung up if it was difficult or if you had to reset. as it's new. It can be the first time you're practicing it. It's the first time we're practicing it together. So we'll have plenty of opportunities to practice all month long with that breathing technique. Your hands come to heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra, no space between the fingers, and the thumbs press into the sternum. Consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice, your reason for showing up to the practice today. The invitation is just to set it as a positive and present tense statement. For example, I flow through life with ease and grace. We'll set that intention with the sound of Om. You're invited to chant along with me, of course. First, a cleansing breath. The hands to release down to the lap, chin drops towards chest, and an inhale, right ear rolls over towards right shoulder. Good morning, ladder 4444. Happy Easter. Head rolls down through center and over to the left. Just allowing the head to gently roll side to side. Inviting space into the body through movement. And the next time the head rolls through center, we'll bring it up to neutral. Begin to roll the shoulders forward. Opening up the space between the shoulder blades and the upper back. We'll roll the shoulders back. And inhaling, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, shoulders melt away. And the right hand releases down, left arm reaches over for a side bend, and a deep breath in here, pressing into the rib cage, really bending to the side, keeping the left hip glued down to the ground. Exhale, up through center, and inhale over to the left. Now right hip's glued to the floor, exhaling center. Following the breath in to bend, expanding the space between the ribs, the intercostal muscles. Exhale, center. And to the left. So we're following the breath here, going at your own breath pace. You might even have the eyes closed for this movement. Just so you can calibrate with your own pacing. And the next time you find yourself up in center, we'll take a deep breath in, reaching through fingertips. And exhale, high twist to the right. Left hand lands on right knee, right hand lands on the ground behind you, and chest opens to the side wall. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, twist left. Following the breath in to rise, and out to twist. little more to each side here. Back up through center. Let the elbows bend, hands come to shoulder height. Just wave out the hands, warming up the hands with all their ligaments and tendons and muscles before we put any weight on them. And palms flip down, fingers wiggle side to side. No moving the elbows or shoulders, we're just working on warming up the hands and wrists here. And then palms flip up towards the sky, really reaching the fingers back, almost like you're trying to get your fingernails to your forearm. Fingers spread wide, and we rotate the hands here. Three, two, one, and gently shake off water. Alright, let's work on some neck mobility here. Fingers come to the top of the jawline. Seated up nice and tall, let the fingers come out maybe an inch or so. And we'll begin to slide the head from side to side. So as you feel you've got space, you bring the fingers further away. Or the distance is causing you to move the shoulders. Just relax the shoulders away, they've got nothing to do with it. Bring the fingers in a little closer. Mindful not to turn the head either. We're sliding the head side to side, opening up new areas in the neck and the cervical spine. And still we're breathing fully. Just bringing the jawbone to touch the finger. Three, two, one. Okay, shake it off. We'll work on our neck rolls. I'll turn to the side so you can see what the movement looks like, but you can keep facing forward. So once again, shoulders down, everything's completely still. Just the head and neck are moving in this next exercise. Chin tucks it down towards chest, and then we're leading with the nose, almost like the nose is making a circle. You reach down, 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 forward, up, back, and then pull the chin back in towards the chest. You smooth that movement out. Go to the far edges of your mobility. Still breathing fully here. Just to relieve neck pain, upper back pain, increase mobility. And once you finish this next circle, we're going to change directions. So now leading with the chin. Chin reaches up, 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 as far as it'll go, then all the way forward, down, scoops back in, and back, up, forward, down, let the movement out and keep the breath going smoothly and deeply as well. Keep the concentration on the movement, working to smooth it out, slow it down. Let this last rotation be your last. Returning to stillness and center. Right, just let the head drop ear to shoulder, a little shake out. Let's extend the legs out in front. And wake up the lower legs. So spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out the ankles. Change directions. Bend in the knees, feet come nice and wide, and we'll just drop the knees side to side, allowing the hips to wake up a bit. Bring some movement to the lower half of the body. So line my legs to be far enough apart that when my knee touches down, it touches the ground, not the other leg. Alright, and the next time the knees fall over to the right, bring the hands to frame this right knee, and we'll bring it to a tabletop pose. Hands below shoulders, knees below hips. On an inhale, belly drops, hips and chest rise. Cow pose. Exhaling round in the spine, chin tucks in towards chest, really pressing up between the space between the shoulder blades. Inhaling for cow pose, hands press down and back, knees press down and forward. Arch the spine. You're trying to scrunch the mat together. And exhale, cat pose, rounding the spine, pressing the hands down and forward, knees down and back. Get a deeper rounding in the spine. Calibrating with your own breath's pace here. Inhaling for cow pose. Exhaling for cat pose. Let the speed of your body be informed by the length of your breath. Exhale, be your last in cat pose. We're returning to a neutral spine, tabletop pose. We'll turn the hands back, fingertips facing the knees, fingers spread wide, wrists stay on the ground no matter what, and we just start sending the hips back and then back forward. So we're giving the wrists a deep stretch here, just furthering what we started earlier, a little wrist resiliency. So you don't want to go past your mobility, you want to go right up to the edge. So it can be like an intensity level of 8, take your breath away. So sometimes we can go further in our bodies than what is good for us. So we use the breath as an informant to let us know when we've gone too far. The next time you're pressed back, hold it there and the breathing continues. So we hold the position but not the breath. Back up through center. Unrotate the hands, tuck the toes under, and sit back onto the heels. We're getting a nice foot stretch here. Fingers can interlace, and we just floss out the wrists here, making figure eights. Change directions. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hands back to the mat. We'll have one more wrist stretch today. Flip the palm so that the back of the hand is on the ground. And then notice here, if you can put weight on it, flip the other hand as well. If that's not happening, if you already know that that's not going to be good for your wrists, then you can go one at a time, and I'll let you know when to switch them back. The fingers are spread super wide. And from here, the next step is getting the arms straight. So if you're here, that's fine. We're just working towards straightening the arms and then turning the insides of the elbows forward. So outside of the elbow, inside. Straightens and then straightens forward. It's almost like you're opening a jar. The movement starts, it's actually in the shoulders. So if you had one hand flipped, go ahead and flip over to the other hand. If you're working here to straighten out the arms, then you can go back a bit, make this more of a dynamic stretch, and then press towards straight. Releasing a little bit back, so I'm exaggerating here, but you're going from a little bit bent to as straight as you can go. If you can straighten your arms without a hitch here, then you can begin pressing back super gently. We'll probably be able to go less far back as in our last exercise. So you want to keep the elbows facing forward, the insides of the elbows facing forward as you do it. So a couple breaths left here in whatever variation you are in. Bring the shoulders back over the wrists if they haven't been there. Unflip both hands. Tuck the toes once more. Sit back on the heels. And then just give the wrist a bit of a stretch here. Alright. So next time our hands come down, let's come into a tabletop pose. It's dark, isn't it? Ooh. Let's see. Better? Kind of ominous. They trimmed the tree in front of my apartment room, and now I have all this like sunlight coming in, but it's not good enough. Alright, so here we are in tabletop pose. Let's step the right foot forward and left foot forward. Heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat. Toes come off the mat, heels are on the ground. And let's just bend deep in the knees. Hips sink down, chest comes up over hips. Deep squat, and then extend the legs straight. Forward fold. So we're going from deep squat to forward fold.
It doesn't have to be the deepest squat of your life. It doesn't have to be the foldiest fold of your entire life. We're just waking the legs up and the body up to these positions. Keep breathing. And the next time the legs are straight-ish, bring the toes back onto the mat. This forward fold positioning. You can allow the knees to bend a little or a lot as you bring your arms away from the ground, if they were on the ground, to give the head a nod yes. Give it a shake no. You can grab opposite elbows here for ragdoll, giving yourself a rock side to side and figure eights back and forth. Really a free movement here as we're letting the weight of the head and gravity work to elongate the spine. So let the legs really be as necessary here. They'll get a stretch or plenty of stretches later on. Here we're actually working on stretching out the spine. Release back to center, releasing the hands to the ground, heel toe the feet in towards one another until big toes touch, with just a little space between the heels so that the ankles don't knock together. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands on shins. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. One vertebra at a time, heavy head comes up last. We inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhaling, hands to heart center into Tadasana, mountain pose. Stepping to the top of the mat if you're not there already. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Eyes follow fingertips. Exhale, forward fold. We'll bend in the knees to protect the lower back. Inhale to a halfway lift, like making a number 7 with your body. Hands on shins. And exhale, hands down to the ground. Right foot takes a giant step back. Allow there to be a nice bend in the left knee to ease that transition. And as that foot lands down, you can just send the heel back and forward, giving the calf a bit of a stretch. If you're not feeling a stretch in your calf muscle here, there might be a bend in that back knee. So you're going to work on straightening the knee out, bringing the back of the knee towards the ceiling. And that's going to give you space to really give this calf muscle a stretch. 3, 2, 1. Holding it back here. Release the knee down to the mat, untuck the toes. And then walking the hands up onto the knee. Notice knees over ankle. Left knee is over the left ankle. Or bring the shoulders up over the hips. So a little bit of a tuck in the lower back to give the front right thigh a stretch. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, high twist to the left. Left arm sweeps back, right arm forward, opening the chest towards the side, long side of the mat. Inhale, back up through center. And exhale, same side, we twist left. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. We hold it here and the breathing continues. So we hold the pose and continue the breath. Option here to release the left hand down, come to the lower back, maybe the thigh or even the leg below, as the right arm reaches up. You feel stretching the whole right side body from thigh through hip, side body, all these side ribs extending, breathing fully here. Breathing in and out through the nose. through center, or just back the way we came. So like the letter T, arms come up through center, and then release the arms down to the mat. We'll extend the left leg straight. So send the hips up and back, coming onto the heel of the front foot. If you got a little space, you can slide the left foot forward to extend the legs completely straight, the leg completely straight, and bring the hips back. So I'm pulling my left hip back to help straighten out this left leg. A little movement in the hips as I find the spacing. And then foot points and flexes. Windshield wiper side to side. When the heel presses away, the toes are pressing in as if they're going to come in towards my face. Inhale, almost like a halfway lift, like on tented fingers. And exhale, we hinge over this extended leg. This is called Ardha Hanumanasana. Ardha means half, and Hanumanasana means pose of the god Hanuman, who's a monkey-faced god and a great friend to humanity, and helps defeat an evil demon king when Rama, hero of humanity, truly meets him. So we're breathing here. Obviously there's a stretch in the back of the left leg. If you're feeling it in your knee, you can back off a little because we want to find that stretch in the belly of the muscles, not in the joints. Just got one more breath here. And releasing hands onto the ground, we'll bend in the left knee. Right toes tuck under, and send the left foot back for your plank pose. Allow both heels to drop over to the right. You might stack this left foot on top of the right foot. The left arm reaches up towards the sky. If you're if this is not quite happening, or you don't have the strength in the bottom wrist, you can take this top leg and place the foot down. So I'm using this top leg to press into the ground right in front of me, just at a 90-degree angle. Otherwise, we're pressing into this left hip, reaching through the fingertips for our side plank pose. Full breath here. And if you're trying to add more intensity or difficulty or challenge, you can always lift that top leg. Then we'll return down. Hand comes down back to regular plank pose. Shift the weight forward onto tiptoes. You always release onto knees here, not chaturanga, lowering halfway down. Knees, chin, chest touch down. Coming all the way laying down onto the mat. Tops of the feet press into the ground, hips press into the ground. Lift the chest and shoulders. Hands press down and back. Almost like they're going to drag you forward on the mat to really elongate the abdominal muscles. So it's more like I'm reaching forward than I'm reaching up. Elongating the spine more so than lifting or back bending. Or release. Mouth, chin, or forehead down to the mat. And hands come down by the sides. Pinkies near the body. Pinkies touching the body, so palms are face down. Squeezing the glutes. Inhale, chest and shoulders rise. Arms rise for Shalabhasana. Option here to lift the legs as well. And exhaling, we gently touch down. Feet, hands, head. Inhale to lift chest, arms, legs. Exhale, touching down, feet, arms, head. In to rise, out to lower. In to rise, out to lower. Interesting. We're strengthening all the back muscles here, all those good posture muscles. So we just got 3 more like this. Feet, hands, and head down. Inhaling to rise. As the arms rise up and the legs rise up, we're really squeezing the shoulder blades together. Releasing down. And here we've got our last one. Chest, arms, and legs. Holding it here, and the breathing continues. We hold the posture, but not the breath. Squeezing the glutes tight, squeezing the shoulder blades. Fingertips are reaching towards back, as if they're going to reach the toes. And the toes are reaching towards the wall behind you. Chest is reaching towards the wall in front. Shalabhasana, locust pose. Another deep breath here. Or release. Feet, chest, arms. You can bend in the knees. And windshield wiper the feet side to side. Just to release any tension that builds up in the lower back. Allow the feet to touch down to the mat. And press the hands, press the chest up and back. We're going to come into a child's pose. So big toes come to touch. Space between the knees. Sink the hips down, sink the chest down, head. Forehead comes down towards the ground. And stay up on tented fingers to give the shoulders a bit of a stretch. And allow your head to rock side to side, a little forehead massage. And walking the hands up and back. We'll come up to kneeling. Toes tuck under. Allow your right hand to come down onto your right heel. Or you might be on a block. Left arm begins to draw big circles. Like a backstroke. Ardha Ustrasana, half camel pose. And then like a nice big front stroke, we'll bring it back up to center. Left hand finds its way down onto the heel or onto a block. The right arm begins to draw big back stroke circles. So back bends, they're like the opposite of how we normally sit and experience our bodies all day. Often we're seated or hunched over. Quite a vulnerable, different positioning for us. So don't get too hung up if you feel like these body parts are weak, because we're just working to strengthen them up here. Alright, like a forward stroke. We'll bring it back up to center. Release the hands down to the mat, fingers spread wide, toes tuck under, and then hips press up for our downward facing dog. So fingers spread wide, finding a spacing that works for you. The closer your feet are to your hands, the deeper the stretch in the legs. The further your feet are from your hands, the deeper the stretch in the shoulders. So we're going to find somewhere in the middle, most likely. You can bend one knee and then the other. Kind of loosening the hips. Releasing stiffness in the lower back. Head can rock, yes. Shake no. We'll keep the eyes nice and open. Gaze is between the heels or between the knees. find your breath here. And then the right leg sweeps up and back behind you towards the wall. Exhaling, tiger pose. Knee comes in towards nose, rounding in the spine. Roll up onto the tiptoes of the left foot. And bring the shoulders up over the wrists. Right foot steps up between the hands. Don't get hung up if it takes more than one step. There's no worries there. Left foot steps up to meet it. Big toes come to touch. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands on shins. And exhale, forward fold to Uttanasana. Inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Beautiful. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Eyes follow fingertips. Exhale, forward fold. A little bend in the knees to protect the lower back. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands on shins. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Left foot takes a giant step back. Remember, give a little bend to the right knee so you have the space to truly step all the way back. Staying up off that back knee, straighten the leg out. And we'll just give it a couple rocks forward and back to give the calf muscle a stretch. I have my right knee over right ankle. Holding it back in this runner's lunge. I'm really pressing my heel back, pressing the back of my knee towards the sky. And gently release the left knee down to the mat, untuck the toes. We'll bring the shoulders up over the hips, mindful knees over the ankle, and arms sweep overhead for Anjaneyasana low lunge. Deep breath in here. Exhale, high twist to the right. Right hand releases back behind you. Left arm sweeping forward. Inhale, back up through center. Same side, twist right. Inhale, forward. And exhale, twist. Hold it here, and the breathing continues. So we hold the pose, but not the breath. Option here to release the right hand down, and left arm can reach up towards the sky, giving the whole left side body a nice deep stretch. And releasing in reverse. Arms come back through the letter T, back through center. And release the hands down to the ground to frame the front foot. Extend the right leg straight as we enter our way to Ardha Hanumanasana. Find that spacing that works. The right hip will be pulling back, left hip a bit forward, but still the hips are over this left knee. So we're looking for a stretch in the back of the right leg. Mindful not to put the tension in the knee. So we're never pressing down on the knee or anything like that. We're just looking for that edge, that stretch edge. We find the spacing with the hips, begin to point and flex the foot of the right leg. You can windshield wiper side to side. Finding it in center, take a deep breath in. Untented fingertips, like a halfway lift type feeling in the spine. Exhale, folding over this extended leg. It might be a little or a lot. Doing your best to keep the hips square. Bend in the knee. Hands come down to the ground. Tuck the left toes under. Lifting the knee, and we'll send the right leg back. Plank pose. Big toes come to touch behind you, and then drop both heels over to the left. Right arm sweeps open towards the sky for side plank on the other side. This time the right foot can come down right in front of the hips to help get the weight off for a little bit of an assist. If not, we keep the feet stacked. Keep the shoulders stacked. We're breathing fully here, strengthening the side body. Release the hand down, back to our proper plank pose. Space between the feet. Inhale, shifts you forward. And exhale, lower down chaturanga. Option to drop knees, chin, chest as we're coming all the way down to the ground. Let's see. Storm Mariah, I would love to say stay, but I have to go. Well, Def, come and tune in again. Love your energy. Thank you. Have a blessed rest of your day, goddess. You too. Great to have you. I'm glad we were able to stop in at all, Storm Mariah. You have a great rest of your day as well. I'm here every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. Same time, same place. You're welcome, of course. So, here we release down onto the belly. Let's actually come up to upward facing dog. So the hands come underneath the shoulders. Elbows are straight back behind you. We'll bring the chest and belly up off the mat. Still have a little bend in the elbows here. Might bring it in a bit. And then tops of the feet press into the ground so hard that the hips and knees lift up off the ground. Straighten my arms out here, pressing the chest forward. Shoulder blades are squeezed together. Squeeze the glutes to protect the lower back. Deep breath in here. And out. Release the hips down to the ground. Release the chest and shoulders down to the ground. So, hands reach back behind you. Fingers can interlace like you're holding your own hand, if that's available to you. If not, you can use a bandana or like a small towel, like a hand towel to reach. Alternately, you can stay in that initial positioning that we had the arms in last round. So with the grip, mouth, chin, and forehead come centered, big toes come to touch, tops of the feet press into the ground, squeeze the glutes. Inhale, chest and shoulders rise. And this time, when the arms reach up, we're letting the elbows straighten out. You should feel a nice natural squeeze between the shoulders here. Option to lift the legs. And just notice if the legs splay open, and instead try to keep them zipped up tight towards center. It's okay if the big toes don't touch, but they're just more or less running towards center line instead of splaying open. Squeezing the glutes tight to protect the lower back. Keeping the hands lifted and reaching back, keeping the breath strong. You might feel a lift and drop from the breath as your deep belly breathing here. Last deep breath here. And then gentle release down of legs, chest, shoulders, and arms. Then let one cheek rest on the ground. Once again, bending in the knees, allowing them to just windshield wiper side to side. You can play with the amount of bend in the knees. You might be able to find a nice angle in which you really get to roll over these quadricep muscles, these like front thigh muscles. Give yourself a little myofascial release. So, what does that even mean? So fascia is like the connective, fascia is the connective tissue in our bodies. So all those foam rollers and all of that, that's like super trendy and all that jazz. We can actually use our own bodies when you get the right angle and positions to release some of that tension as well. This is like one of those moves. Alright, release the feet down, hands come underneath the shoulders, we'll press up to a tabletop, and press it up to a kneel once more. So I have a little space between my knees, and just letting them drop down straight below my hips. So I won't give you inches because it'll be different for everybody, but just straight down. Toes can tuck under, like before. And hands come to the lower back. It's almost like you're putting your hands in your back pockets. A little tuck of the hips. So we've spoken about the tilts in the hips before. So here, you see it's level. Imagine your hips are like a teacup. An anterior tilt is going to be like your butt sticks out, and you see like the tea would spill out the front of the cup. A posterior tilt is a rounding like cat pose, and the tea would spill out the back. So anterior tilt, posterior tilt, and here we've got center. So there's a little bit of an engagement in the lower back and the lower abdomen. Alright, we're going to squeeze the glutes here to hold them in place. Deep breath in, chest lifts. Hips press forward, chest lifts up, Ustrasana camel pose. Option here to release the hands onto the heels. Go one at a time. So shoulder blades are squeezed together. It's like there's a string on my chest and my sternum pulling me towards the sky. So as space, you might untuck the toes. And the last thing, this is completely optional. You just decide if this is going to be okay on your neck or not. You're either keeping your chin tucked in towards your chest, or you can allow your head to release back behind you. Just notice, don't allow your head to collapse in between the shoulders here. There's still a lifted type feeling in the chest. And there's still full breathing happening. Keep the back body engaged, the glutes engaged, the shoulder blades engaged, and the front body opening and stretching with the breath. Just being observant of what shows up for you in these back bends. Got one more deep breath here. And chin tucks back in towards chest. Hands can come to lower back to support you. As you press back up to kneeling, neutral. Allow the hips to touch down, up, heels, big toes come to touch, sitting back on the heels. Spread the knees. And allow yourself to come forward for our child's pose. Just a little rounding in the spine after that back bend. Allow the forehead to release to the mat. And it might feel good for you to release your hands actually down by your sides. And take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more like that. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Let's press it up to tabletop and downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide. It's the last downward dog of class. Pedal out the heels just a bit, just finding your spacing. So fingers are spread wide on the ground. Eyes stay open between the ankles or the knees. And then notice, just like we practiced in our low lunge, we're working towards pressing the knees back towards the wall behind us. We're working on straightening the legs out by engaging the quad and front leg muscles. The arms, just like we did in our wrist stretches, are working towards that open jar where the inner elbow is facing forward. So the shoulders are broad on the back. Head is heavy. Breath is deep. Hips are pressing up and back towards where the back wall meets the ceiling. Left leg sweeps up and back behind you. Exhale, tiger pose. Knee in towards nose, round in the spine like cat pose. Lifting up onto the right tiptoes, shoulders come up over the wrists, and left foot steps up between the hands. Right foot steps up to meet it, doesn't matter how many steps it takes. Big toes come to touch, a little space between the ankles. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. Heavy head comes up last. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Nice. We'll turn to face one another. Let's just shake it out. So, our lymphatic shaking part of class. We're just going to bring a shake to the body, a bounce. Bring the shoulders up to drop. And it just looks like lifting the heels up off the ground and allowing them to slam down with bent knees to create this reverb, like reverberations, actual bounce in the body, this lymphatic shaking. You can bring like a full jump into it, but just the lift of the heels and drop will be just fine. Really what we want to do is create a little bit of heat in the body, and this shaking helps drain the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system helps move toxins out of the body. But unlike the circulatory system, which has a heart to pump it through, the lymphatic system relies on movement. So these quick, jumpy movements are just what it needs to properly drain and reset. This also has been proven to interrupt pain signals in our nervous system and help ease chronic pain in patients who suffer from fibromyalgia. So that's the Western scientific part of it. So just keep it going, just keep it going. Once you got a good rhythm, it's almost automatic to continue. So psychologically, little kids and babies will shake when they're afraid. An adult will come over and comfort them. Right? At a certain part in our lives, we go from being those little kids that are shaking and crying and processing fear to an emotion, to the adult comforting them and calming them down. So here's an opportunity to just shake off and process that emotion. In yoga, it's called samskara, and we have these stuck points of energy within our body, these like internal scars or knots. And this just helps shake it off and process and work through it. So here we go. So we've been working up all year towards the 3-minute mark, which is the recommended dosage, minimum dosage. So we've been building up those little calf muscles, building up the openness to even do a practice like this. So I like just lifting my shoulders and allowing them to drop. It's not mandatory, but it does help me out because I know that I carry a lot of tension in my shoulders, upper back, my neck. So if you're one of those people, this is a great opportunity to kind of shake it off too. We just got another shake for 3, 2, and 1. All right. So the next letting go practice is called breath of joy. It's a 4-part breath. It looks like this. A sip of air in through the nose, arms sweep forward. Sip of air in through the nose, arms sweep out. Sip of air in through the nose, arms sweep forward. There's no exhales in between, it's just in. And a big ha out through the mouth, arms sweep back. So it's quite loud on the exhale, forceful, letting things go. You don't have to bring anything to mind. Just think about letting go of the breath, right? Make sure there's enough space between you and the wall around you. You've got about 10 breaths like this. I allow my feet to be like shoulder width apart. We'll bend to the knees. So, in, ha. Now's your chance. Ha! Ha! Last one, make it count. Ha! All right, one hand lands on the belly, one hand lands on the heart. Feet come nice and wide, eyes can close. Just take a moment here to arrive and observe what was created. What shows up for you when you just let yourself take up space, let yourself loose and jiggle and loud and yell? Or shows up as resistance to stop you from fully participating? I know for me, one of the reasons I wouldn't fully participate in things is I didn't want to be questioned. Like, I didn't want to have to explain myself to anybody about why I was doing what I was doing. So half the time I wouldn't even do what I wanted to do for fear of questioning. If I didn't have a good enough answer for them, then I shouldn't even be doing it myself. And I'm just here to tell you, you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. Ever. Just a friendly reminder, let your eyes gently blink open. You might grab a sip of water, towel off any sweat that may have built up. Come closer. Alright, if you're already on the ground, you just stay there. We'll meet you. If not, you can come down with me. The edge of the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands down to the ground, knees bend deep, 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 so deep that you come to seated. Feet come to touch. Knees splay open. You can give your feet a little bit of a massage here, just working into the bottoms of the feet. All right. Having a good grip on the feet, ankles, or lower legs. Take a deep breath in to get tall. And exhale, we hinge forward. Belly, chest, head. So the option here is to, with the grip on the ankles, use that grip to press the elbows into the knees, pressing the knees down towards the floor. So, is the direction that my knees are going the floor? Yes. Is the goal to touch the floor? No, it's just to find that edge, that stretch in the hips. Alternately, you can just focus on the back here, just allowing your breath to really carry you. Your knees will do what they will. You'll still get a nice good stretch. But it'll be more of a focus on the spine here, allowing the head to be heavy. Allowing gravity and breath to deepen you into posture. So every exhale, as you pull your belly button in towards your spine, you're creating more space for the body to come down deeper into this forward fold. One more deep breath here. Get back up to seated. Bring the knees together and roll it back nice and gentle. Rock side to side. Roll it back to side. Let the knees fall over to the right. Left hip stacking over right hip. Right hand lands on top of the left knee. The left arm opens up like the letter T, pressing that shoulder down towards the ground. Palm face up towards the sky. You might even look over this extended left arm. To complete the spinal twist, Supta Matsyasana. Supine spinal twist. The head come up through center, the knees come up through center, and gently release the knees over to the left, stacking right hip over left hip. Left hand lands on top of right knee, and right arm opens up like the letter T, pressing this right shoulder down towards the ground, maybe even looking over at this extended right arm. Everything else is relaxed, even if there's space between the knees or the knee and the ground, it's all good. We're not pulling with this hand or anything. We're really just letting gravity and breath do the work here. So these reclining twists are wonderful in relieving lower back pain, sciatica. We worked on back bends today. These reclining twists are really great to just relieve any tension that we have built up from that practice as we build up strength, as we build up that endurance in those postures. We'll bring the head back up through center, bring the knees up through center. And just notice, is there any last wiggle or stretch or pose that your body is asking for? And giving yourself a moment here to explore that and move in any which way your body's calling. All class we tell our body what to do, and now we just ask back, is there anything left? These next few moments to just move freely in any which way that calls to you. And then we'll prepare for Shavasana, final relaxation pose. So that looks like legs down, extended down the length of the mat. Feet come at least a foot apart, legs so relaxed that the feet naturally splay open. Shoulders tuck under, supporting the chest. And the hands land at least 6 inches from the body, palms face open to the sky. Head comes centered, gazing up towards the ceiling, eyes can close. If that's comfortable, if not, a soft gaze towards the sky is just fine. And if this laying straight flat on your back brings any pain to your lower back, just going to want to bend in the knees, feet come to the edges of the mat, knock the knees together, lift the hips, give them a tuck, and release them back down with a nice long lower back. Broken bridge pose. Either variation, the one that works best for you, is just fine for this Shavasana final relaxation pose. So Shavasana is all about integration. Hello, hello, Danielle, you made it just in time for our final meditation, our resting pose. So, we'll begin this meditation just as we did our last, with 3 cleansing breaths.
in through the nose and an audible sigh out through the mouth. This time the shoulders stay relaxed. Allow the breath to continue in and out through the nose if that's available. Inviting your exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Invite space between top and bottom teeth, and the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth as the jaw hangs heavy. Lips and cheeks relax. Nose and nostrils relax. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets. Eyelids just barely touching. And the space between the eyebrows broadens as all the muscles in the forehead relax. Muscles surrounding the ears, all their wrinkles and folds. All the way down into the ear canals rest. Muscles of the back and top of the head relax as well. Whole head relaxes. Throat and neck release. The shoulders melt away. Upper arms and elbows relax. Forearms and wrists release. Palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers. Whole hands alive with vibration. Whole hands alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle and lower back, relax. Chest and belly, naturally rising and falling with the breath. Glutes, pelvis, hips. Rest heavy, supported by the ground below. Thighs and knees melt away. Shins, calves, and ankles relax. Heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet, and all of the toes relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Notice if in your mind, if even for a moment, that inner voice quieted. Notice if in your breath there's ease. Notice if in your body the places of tension have found space, and the places of restlessness have found peace. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice makes practice. Nothing more and nothing less. Invite your inhalations to deepen and become longer than your exhalations. Fingers begin to wiggle. Toes begin to curl. Head can gently rock side to side. And arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. Let your knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural. Landing in a fetal position, you can use that bottom arm as a pillow. Fully released, fully supported by the ground below you. Bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today, or take this opportunity to set one now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. Today we worked on a series of back bending and strengthening postures. The first namaste I said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste I said out loud to the community that held this space. Namaste. Thank you to everyone who joined me today. Whether you're here practicing physically, here for the meditations, or just lurking, I hope you found something that serves you. Yeah, happy Easter and happy Sunday. My intention is always that you feel better leaving the mat and then you did stepping on. So, yeah. Let's see. Let's drop this in here. So now it's a new month, April. So new month, we've got a new schedule here. our schedule here is on Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays. We, at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, so at this time, have our meditation and yoga class. You're welcome, Linda. I'm glad you were able to make it. Yeah, so I'm always open to feedback. You can just let me know how you're feeling or what you guys want to work on or more of this, less of that. I'm always open for recommendations and requests. Tips are appreciated but never mandatory. I just drop the link in the chat there. $5 just get you a recording to class if you ever miss class, or you are having a day that there's not a day that you would like to take class but there is none. You can always drop $5 into my Venmo and ask for a class link. I can give you one at random or give you a specific one. I'll assume that you want the one that is the closest to the date that you're sending it to me, and then you'll have that class for as long as YouTube is a thing. And then links to all your favorite parts of class, the lymphatic shaking, the meditation, so you can just take it piece by piece to the parts that work for you, and the parts that you need or feel you would like to practice in that moment. So I appreciate you all. I think I might take Lucy to the beach today for Easter. I don't know. We don't really have an Easter tradition in San Diego, Pat and I, but yeah, much love from me to you. I'll be here tomorrow. Who should we read? Let's go. Oh, I pinged Tai Chi. She's great. Let's do that. So she's in the Connecticut fitness community, and I used to live in Connecticut. So I just want to go send her some good vibes over there, and you can just tell her that I sent you. No, just kidding. Well, I think that her vibe and energy level are quite in tune with